3, 2, 1.
And now, you're tuned into the Navarro-Miller Report, featuring the hottest in news, entertainment, sports, and all those topics for the mainstream audience. The Navarro-Miller Report.
Examine your reality.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Navarro-Miller Report. I'm your host, Dave Navarro.
And I'm Jeremy Miller.
And man, Jeremy, I got to tell you, I'm still on cloud nine over last week's episode with Clay Aiken. I mean, talk about an incredible episode. I loved having Clay Aiken here. I seriously hope we get to have him again here, man.
I hope so too. He was an awesome guest, definitely one of our best, and the response has been great. And it was really a pleasure getting to talk with him.
And saying that response is great is an understatement, to say the least. I mean, we've gotten so many people hitting us up, they've watched. It's probably one of our most viewed episode thus far, to be honest with you. And it's, man, I gotta tell you, it was just an amazing episode for me, man. I mean, I know it was for you. You're a fan. Your mom was a fan. Joni's a fan. So, I mean, we had a lot of people that were fans on here. So very much a great episode, to say the least, man.
I agree. And even beyond being a fan, and it was very cool just as someone who appreciates his singing and really likes his music. That was cool. But just as an overall episode, speaking as, one of the hosts, that was just a fun episode. He's incredibly funny. He's very smart, very witty. And it was great to have him on.
100%. Wanted to welcome everybody to the stream so far. We got JC in there, Meg, Cindy. Welcome everybody. And Cindy actually goes ahead to say happy Father's Day. Father's Day is this Sunday, so happy Father's Day to you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Hopefully, you have a great one. I mean, I know that beside the fact of the matter that you're a pain in my ass, you are a great dad. I got to say this. You raised, 3 great kids, three great boys. And, you are a great dad. So definitely happy Father's Day to you, man.
I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. I'm sure I'll get a call from the boys at some point during the day.
I'm sure you will. So moving on to some news here. We got a couple of fun things to talk with all you guys about in today's news stories. But before we get to that, normally we do a TikTok blind react, but today TikTok's been kind of lacking a little bit. Everybody's been mainly talking about the Las Vegas aliens. Which actually, if you haven't seen that video, go watch it. It's really creepy. It's weird. Even the Las Vegas police officers were like, yeah, we saw the light, and then a few minutes later we get the call. Yeah, don't ever call us for anything like that. It was a kind of a funny situation. They're like, don't call us for that, call someone else. But besides that, we actually have a few fun videos actually from this one. These are coming from Instagram this time around, and the first video has to do with a little prank that parents did on I think it was maybe the grandparents, I don't know who, but this prank, this is actually a really good one. Go ahead and check it out.
Look at Emerson.
That's a good one.
At first glance, you're like, oh my God, the baby's floating.
I wouldn't have been that worried. I'd be like, get the camera.
The face on the baby's expression, though.
That was awesome. No, the baby was perfectly contented. He wasn't worried. So if the baby was fine, I'm fine.
Yeah, no, it was freaking hilarious because it's like all of a sudden the baby's like, sure, why not? Let's go ahead and do this. Why not?
I don't know if I've told you before. Kirk carried around a picture for a long time in his wallet of his youngest son, and they had duct taped him to the wall.
Oh, wow.
Had a chair under him and everything else, and him and the siblings duct taped him to the wall and then pulled the chair out and took a picture. And Kirk would always, I'm a little strict with my kids, when they get out of line here, this is, and he'd show the picture.
Find that video. I want to see it. I really want to see that one. Oh my God. And this other one that I got going on, many men are always intimidated by other men, and pretty much, and they're intimidated for the fact of the matter of the whole term size matters. In this particular case, this young lady actually defines that, but not in the way that most of us would think. Go ahead and check this out.
I don't think you know how big 12 inches is. Do you see that? Just in scale, where is that going? Not in here, okay? The average gal is gonna get about that much. Maybe this, if they're a pro, but the rest of that, completely unmanageable. This is the biggest I've ever seen in real life, but this is fine. It's completely fine. This, fabulous. Almost too big. Definitely too big. Fucking sick day. ER, 27 club, and now I'm just skipping my next life. Anything after that is entirely unethical. I don't think we know what we're talking about.
Oh my goodness, she is too funny.
Yeah, I honestly hadn't even seen the entire video until right now. So
she is too good. That was hysterical.
Oh my God. And we got we have already we have Meg saying she's not wrong.
Well, I've had many, female friends in my life, and they are all of the same opinion. They've seen those pictures, they've seen those films or those scenes, and they're generally like, yeah, get that thing the hell away from me.
Yeah.
Is their general response.
And it's so funny because during my days in the club industry, I met a lot of ladies in the adult film industry, and many of them actually agree. Sometimes that's too big. Like sometimes when they do their scenes, they're like, yeah, we have to stop halfway through because it's hurting. It gets to the point where
porn stars we're talking about.
Yes,
so yes, I would say the average woman does share that opinion.
Yeah,
well, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not a woman, but most of my female friends have been of that opinion.
You got a lot of females that are deemed size queens. They're called size queens, that they love that size. They love them like damn near horse size, but it's one of those things. It's very few and far between. I mean, there's like most women, like the average women are like, no, sometimes it's too big. It tends to hurt a lot.
It makes sense. I mean, like I said, most of my friends were like, their actual words was, get that thing away from me.
Yeah.
It's so I understand, and that's very believable.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And yeah, I'm just like, I'm sorry, Dan. You're comment on for a second. I just saw that right now. But yeah, no. To be honest with you, I mean, size does matter, but I think it's a different type of matter. So it's like size does matter, guys, but not in the way you think. So keep that in mind always. In this other video, this is actually a prank that went the other direction that the other person didn't think was gonna go. So yeah, just check it out.
Are you ready, Tom? We're gonna have a chugging contest. You ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Rick.
It's a smart setup. Setup.
You gotta love that. You gotta love these types of setups. So yeah, next time we do a chugging contest, beware, Jeremy.
Oh, I check all. You forget. Kirk primed me well. I lived around one of the most devious human beings that has ever lived when it comes to pranks. So believe me, I double and triple check everything.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, one of these days,
Yeah.
I might be able to catch you. Anyways, moving on to some other funny things. This is the funniest thing. So I earlier this week, we went ahead and we have to congratulate Al Pacino, because at 83, he's still having kids. But it's the funniest thing because
I have a very different view on that. I'm not sure congratulations are in order. If I'm 83, I have no interest in having a newborn in the house.
Well, I mean, when you have that much money, I mean, it pretty much gets to the point where it's like, yeah, sure, why not? And at 83, he's pretty much going to be like, well, I'm not even going to get into that. But the funny part about that whole thing is the way TMZ posted the announcement. Now, mind you, we've had a lot of tragedies this week in a lot of actors passing, but look at this. tell me if at first glance you didn't think something completely different when you saw this picture on social media. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, is he? Oh no, he's alive. Okay, never mind. When you see this.
Well, and the wording with "I'm a dad," if you just barely glance at that, yeah, you might take that a completely different way. I mean, I'm not being mean to Al, but does that look like a man that is ready to have a newborn in
yeah,
the house?
no, not even a little bit. I mean, that's just, I mean, what are you gonna do with the kid at 83? I mean, how are you gonna be able to play with the kid at 83?
I don't know. One of my very good friends, my tennis partner in high school, his dad had him very late in life. And by the time we graduated, I believe his dad was already like 76 years old, 74 years old. And that was when we were graduating high school. Now, this was a young 74. This was a man who was still out playing tennis every day, spent the weekend at the tennis club, you know, playing all day long, keeping in shape. But I mean, guys do it. And, you know, he was out there playing with his kid and being a dad, even well into his 70s. So,
I mean, look at Allen.
yeah, 69 years old and was going out to play hockey with his kid. So, you know, there are plenty of guys who have kids late in life. And some are very capable of, you know, handling it and are in the shape to be able to participate.
Yeah, that's very true. But Derek is saying what we're all thinking. I have 100,000 that says he won't see his kids graduate.
Oof.
I mean,
it's
what we're all thinking.
You're probably right. I mean, that's the.
I mean, it's
83 years old. You're talking about 91. Yeah,
like,
that's a long shot.
At 93, the kid's gonna barely be 10.
Well, especially, I mean, I'm not being, again, I have no issues with Al Pacino at all, but he has a reputation for having lived very hard for a long time. He was quite the partier. He was quite the, you know, hard living guy. So, you know, at 83, I'm not sure how well he's got to be holding up. I don't know. I honestly don't know him.
Yeah, and I mean, we have Danny that also mentioned pretty much what we were talking about with Alan. Says Alan was in great physical shape, avid exerciser, playing tennis and hockey, and bam, has a massive heart attack just like that.
Well, Alan's was actually what's known as the Widowmaker. It's not a heart attack, so to speak. It's actually something that, I don't know, one in whatever men have, and women can have it too. It killed Lucille Ball. But it's an aorta in your heart that is weak, essentially. There's just a weakness in the lining of it, and you move the wrong way, and one day it just snaps.
Wow.
And you basically bleed out internally within minutes. They say that if you happen to be on the operating table when it happens, you have about a 20% chance of living. So if it happens to you anywhere else, you're basically gone. That's just it.
There's just no prevention. There's nothing that could prevent it from happening.
And it's taken a lot of great people from us. I mean, I'm sure the numbers are astronomical because it's a lot more common than people think. But Lucille Ball, John Ritter, Bill Paxton, Alan. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, people in the entertainment industry that went way too early because of that.
True facts. But I mean, like, you know, with Al being a dad at 83, like, the whole point of this is just the misleading, like, picture is so misleading.
No,
and
if you really just glanced at that quickly, you might, oh my God, Al's dead.
Yeah, I had to take a double take when I saw it, and I was like, oh, is he what? Oh no, wait, he's a dad. I'm like, you idiots. I'm wondering if they did that on purpose, and then they
probably did.
They put a picture of him looking like this.
Oh, it gets more clickbait, of course.
I mean, come on, this is just all bad. TMZ, come on. Do a little better, guys. Moving on to some crazy and outlandish news from around the world. Woman goes to great lengths to learn English. Jeremy, what's this all about?
Hey, so we have a woman in Hanville, Louisiana, and she wanted to learn English so bad that her and her mom forged documents and forged like birth certificates and passports and things, and enrolled her in high school so she could learn English. She's 27 years old. and they enrolled her as a 17-year-old.
Oh my God. So is this like a never been kissed moment with Drew Barrymore?
Well, here's the thing. She actually went to school the entire year, apparently. She participated in no extracurricular activities, and there have been no reports of inappropriate behavior. Even the sheriff said it seems there's no nefarious reasons behind this at all. It was as simple as she wanted to learn English. And the sheriff's response was, we have GED classes and community courses that are free, right? So now her and her mother are being charged with misdemeanor charges of falsifying and injuring public records.
Oh my God. Like,
all because she wanted to learn English and, wanted to become proficient in English. Again, the sheriff's response was just too perfect. He told the mom, he said, you do realize there's GED courses and there's community, local community courses at the community center that will teach her for free.
I'm done with society. I quit society altogether. Come on. Like, seriously, you can't think of something like that? It's all over the place. Do they what were they live in an Amish country that they don't have any type of technological advancements that they could actually look online and say, hey, learn English, GED courses. I mean, even immigrants from third world countries that probably don't have internet know this.
Well, I mean, if you ask the people in your community, and most immigrants that I have known tend to hover in their community where they feel safer, I'm pretty sure there'd be someone who knows that's available to them. So yeah, it's insane and outlandish to me that they would go to all that trouble, falsify federal documents to get her into school just to learn English.
I wonder if any of the teachers caught on quickly. They're like, you don't look 17.
Apparently she made it through the entire year, and it wasn't until after she had graduated or had progressed the year that the school district got a tip that one of their students who was 17 might actually be in their mid-20s. So an investigation began, and it was found to be this woman.
It took them a year. I mean, that goes... Okay, what's the name of this high school? I'm going to make sure if I have children, I know them there.
And the school district is saying that they are reviewing their, admission procedures to be more stringent to weed things like this out.
Oh my God.
What else can they say?
Okay, if you guys have ever seen the movie, not another teen movie, and there's a scene where they make fun of Never Been Kissed, with a woman that looks like she's 100 years old, that people thought, oh, she's just another high school student. That's what this reminds me of right now, more so than Never Been Kissed.
You keep referencing Never Been Kissed, but it actually had been done before. Never Been Kissed was not a remake, but kind of a takeoff on. There was a film in the 80s called Just One of the Guys.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
That was, the older sister had already graduated. Now she's, becoming a journalist, and she goes back and convinces her brother to help her and all that. It still has one of the greatest lines ever in films. He's given her, instructions on how to be a guy. He says, you got to scratch your balls. You got to. She's like, well, what if my balls don't itch? I just don't scratch. It's okay. And he goes, all balls itch. So she spends most of the film trying to not look awkward while doing all this. Very fun film.
Truer words are never spoken. All balls itch. That's so freaking true. Anyways, on that note, let's go ahead and move on. We have another story. Bad dream gets man arrested. Come on.
We have a man in Illinois who police responded to a call of a gunshot victim at this address. When they arrived, they found that the man, 62 years old, told them that he was having a dream that he was having a home invasion, that someone was intruding. And in his dream, he grabbed his .357 and pointed it out the intruder and fired. When in reality, he somehow grabbed it in his sleep and shot himself in the leg.
And this is in Florida?
Now, There's no charges for that in particular, but in reviewing this case, they found that he actually had a warrant out, or no, he didn't have a warrant out. His license to carry and to own the gun had been revoked, and he was no longer allowed to even possess a firearm.
Oops.
So he's now been arrested for illegal possession of a firearm, as well as disorderly discharge of a firearm.
So let me see if I can kind of play by play this here when he goes into lockup. What are you in for? I had a bad dream.
I shot myself. What do you? Nobody will mess with him. You just got to play crazy.
Yeah, right.
I shot myself. What are you in for, motherfucker? You know.
I had a bad dream and I shot myself. How about that? That's right. That's
They'll
right.
leave him alone.
It's like, dude, this guy's crazy. Let's get the hell away from him. Oh my God. I mean, the cops must be cracking up though. Like,
oh, I'm sure they were. And again, it's just random, just absolutely random circumstances. This guy shoots, which, first of all, folks, I understand the argument of you want your home protection weapon nearby, but having it loaded and within grabbing distance while you're asleep, if you're somebody who has vivid dreams like, is probably one of the stupidest things you could possibly do.
Oh my God, that's the dumbest. That takes the cake right there. That just takes the cake right there. You gotta love these stories. Moving on to a different one now. We got a very expensive meal, or a very expensive free meal. What's this about?
Again, we have an idiot.
Are these guys in
who
Florida,
got himself arrested?
Or are they taking a break?
No, again, we still have not gotten back to Florida yet. This is just amazing to me. Oh, wait a minute. No, Cobb County's Georgia.
Oh, so close.
We got close.
We got close.
Anyway, we have a man who went to the Juicy Crab, which, by the way, they're all over and they're actually really good if you like a crab, boiling pot type place.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a man who thought he was going to get himself a free meal. So he ordered a bunch of food, he ate, and he dined and dashed. But he left his cell phone at the restaurant.
Nice. Nice.
His screenshot was his photo. It was a selfie. So it wasn't hard for them to find who it was, look him up, and track him down. When they did that, they found that he had a warrant out for his arrest.
Wonderful.
For, here we go, attempted murder.
What?
So because this moron wanted a free meal and didn't want to pay for it, he's now been arrested on murder charges and will be facing some serious time. So yeah, that's one expensive meal.
Wow.
All because he just wanted to dine and dash. Yeah. Don't dine and dash if you got a murder, beef. Come on, folks.
Wow. And then he left his cell phone with a selfie in it. Beautiful. You gotta love how moronic this guy was. Yes, JC. JC went ahead and commented, America's dumbest criminals needs to recreate this one. Yeah, they really, really do. This is just stupidity. This, well, you know what? A lot of police officers, they always say that criminals are just stupid. Like, they're just plain stupid. That's why it's so easy to catch them, because they're just stupid.
Well, there was a running line on the show Blue Bloods that Donnie Wahlberg and Tom Selleck would say often when someone would comment on the stupidity of one of the criminals or something else, and he'd say, "We rarely catch the smart ones."
Yeah, that's very true.
And it was a running thing throughout the show. Is that we rarely catch the smart ones. There's just a lot of stupid ones. So yes, we make a lot of callers.
Oh yeah. It's true facts. It's true facts. I mean, it's just, oh God, it's just, and the same thing goes for the TV show, The Rookie. I've been watching that one too. The same thing. It's the same running joke. It's like, we just keep it's like, I love the criminals are just stupid because they just keep on catching them.
JC.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that in just a sec.
And in other news, guess what? JC, I got some good news for you. Florida man almost loses his leg. Yes,
Florida man is back, ladies and
Florida
gentlemen.
man is back. I was able to find something. I was able to find this little treasure trove actually last week, which is amazing. Now, this is coming from at Puberty on Instagram. I'm going to go ahead and read you guys this. A Florida man almost lost his leg to deadly flesh-eating bacteria after he was bitten by a family member. It goes on to say a Florida man almost lost his leg after he was bitten by a family member, causing a flesh-eating infection. Donnie Adams, 52, stepped in to break up a brawl at a family event in February, Tampa Bay Times reported. Later, he realized he'd been bitten on his thigh during the kerfuffle. That's how they said it. He went to the ER for a tetanus shot and antibiotics and was sent on his way. His doctor said a human bite can contain more dangerous bacteria than a dog bite. Quote, I would have never imagined that a human bite would turn into something so horrific as a flesh-eating bacteria, Adams told WSAV. But he told the Tampa Bay Times, quote, a human bite is dirtier than a dog bite as far as the kinds of bacteria that grows. So, wow. This happened in Florida. Mama
Meg,
was a leader in the house. Let's
Meg
go ahead
just
and
said,
bite him.
why are people in my state so weird? What the hell? Meg, I don't know. I will tell you this, though. Florida man has taken a break recently. It's been a good solid 6 weeks since we've even talked about Florida man. So, hey, maybe they're getting better. Who knows?
Here's hoping. But God, they really should have a lot of it's the Florida stories. They should come up with a show called the Florida Man Stories, because they're just always there and they're just so juicy every single time.
They tend to be pretty good. I have found a few websites that like to focus on those stories. But again, hey, he doesn't always, Florida man doesn't like to make an appearance too often. He likes to dole it out occasionally.
Just a little bit here and there. But we've missed them, though. We've missed them. So, I mean, this is a little treasure that I found. I was like, oh.
I'll tell you, though, I mean, what makes it funny is that it's if a family member that they had a family blow up. But I actually had a guy, this little punk. I got in a fight years ago. This guy had thrown a bottle at my buddy's car, and I lost it and went after him. And he grabbed me by my ponytail at the time, so pulled my hair and bit me. I was like, dude, are you 4? He pulled my hair and bit me in the back. Teeth marks and everything. I was bleeding. I had to take care of that thing really quickly because I didn't want this exact situation.
In Star Trek, when Klingon bites a person, it's usually the start of a mating ritual. I'm just saying.
Well, he did pull my hair.
I'm just saying. You must have had long locks for some reason. It's like, ooh, let me bite him. Oh my God. Well, that was a fun one for Florida man right there. And Florida man, please don't ever disappoint us. Keep them coming because we love to talk about you. In entertainment news, this week was the unfortunate passing of actor Treat Williams. He passed away in a fatal motorcycle accident. And in reading this story, what was even sadder about this is that he was still alive when the accident occurred. He was actually still talking to paramedics and everything. And so far, according to news reports, that he had a head-on collision with an SUV, and the driver has not been charged with any criminal charges or anything like that, but the police is still investigating what happened. To me, according to reports from what I've read, it sounds like it was an actual legitimate accident. And it was just an unfortunate accident. But according to the news reports, Treat was conscious during this and in a lot of pain. He was immediately airlifted to a local hospital in New York, where he was pronounced dead at the scene. So this is a tragedy because Treat Williams, again, great actor. First time I saw him was in the TV show Everwood, and it was a tragedy altogether.
Treat was a great actor. very iconic in a lot of different roles. So yeah, this is sad news to hear. I've told you before, I've lost two very, very good friends in motorcycle accidents, as well as my older stepbrother who almost died and had the entire right side of his body crushed in a really bad accident. So I've told you, I was raised around biker culture. I was raised around it. I love motorcycles. I love riding, but I would never own one in a major city. You're already taking a huge, huge risk, and the more idiots you have around you who may do dumb stuff, the greater chances you're going to put it down. My uncle is the only motorcycle rider who rode their entire life that I know that never laid his motorcycle down, not one time. That doesn't happen. That's rare. So if you're going to take that risk, man, minimize as many of the factors around you as possible.
Well, this is the irony of ironies. You're talking about big city. This happened in East Dorset, Vermont.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is the craziest part, is that this didn't even happen in a big city. This happened in a small place of East Dorset, Vermont. So it could happen anywhere. I mean, if it definitely could happen in a big city, it could happen in a small place like this. And it's just, again, when I saw it, I was in shock, because I mean, Treat Williams, you would have never even guessed that he would pass away like this. And to hear even worse, that he was still alive and in a lot of pain, that breaks your heart. That definitely breaks your heart to hear something like this, So, I mean, we have JC that made a comment saying Treat was an unmatched icon, and this was a horrible loss to the entertainment world. Godspeed, good sir. I gotta agree with that. Again, the characters that he portrayed, again, I really only saw him in Everwood, and the character that he portrayed there was just of a loving father, and just, you could see it in his face. He seemed like a really, really sweet man.
He played a lot of great roles. If you look back at his film roles, especially in the 90s, early 2000s, he had a lot of really good ones. One of my favorites is just one of his campiest, but just totally fun, which was The Substitute 2. And he played a very kind of aloof, strong character like he usually did. And anyway, Treat was absolutely iconic. It's definitely a shame, and I'm going to miss getting to see him on the big screen.
Definitely a huge loss. So condolences go out to his family during this rough time. In other entertainment news, Pete Davidson has been charged for reckless driving. As everybody knows, Pete Davidson had an accident earlier this year and crashed his vehicle into a house. Now, many people probably thought that he was under the influence. Doesn't seem like they tested him to see if he was under any type of influence. He wasn't, but still,
it's a reasonable assumption.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Yeah. And but the district attorney's office of Los Angeles County has officially charged him with one count of reckless driving. And this is about 3 months after the crash. Nobody was hurt in this, but unfortunately, I mean, just because no one was hurt, it's still something that happened. So the question is, how reckless was this? I mean, to me, it would seem like it's an accident, but if they're charging him with reckless driving, that means he must have been distracted, or something happened that caused this accident to begin with.
Well, you can get a reckless driving charge just for having any sort of an accident when you were going a certain speed over the speed limit. You can get a reckless driving charge for having, changed lanes unsafely. There's a lot of different, very small, minor things you could get a reckless driving added on if there's an accident involved. So who knows? I can speak for me. I know how I drove, especially when I was young, and this was, how I drove sober, and it could very, 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 very easily be described as reckless. I had many close calls, and if any of those had actually turned into accidents, I probably could have been charged with reckless driving as well.
Very, very true. I mean, it seems that the Miller family definitely has a tendency to drive recklessly, and I can attest to that in many, many ways.
I'm telling Josh, you said that.
I didn't say any names. Word of advice, folks: never get in the car with his brother Josh. That's all I'm gonna say.
He will
Josh,
make you pay for that.
Josh, I'm sorry if you're watching this. I'm so sorry, but
Josh is going to take you for a long ride next time.
dude, seriously, as soon as I got out of the car from driving with Jeremy's brother, I was like that kid from the movie The Pacifier. Jumped out of the car, I'm like, land! Kissing the ground. Thank God I'm alive. Oh Lord. Anyways, no, I mean, in this particular case with Pete Davidson, again, you know, they're still unclear about how he lost control of the vehicle. But according to TMZ, it says, quote, but sources familiar said he hopped the curb and took out a fire hydrant before hitting the side of the house. Thankfully, no one was hurt. So, I mean, if he was like, if that's the case, then Pete has to fight this, you know, and saying that maybe it was something faulty with the vehicle. Maybe it wasn't exactly the driver that was at fault. Maybe it was the vehicle that something happened that he rented. Who knows? It could be any number of things that could have
There's
come.
so many different. I mean, he could have come around a corner a little too quick and lost control. You know, you'd easily go up over the curb doing something like that. That would get a reckless driving charge because you were driving over the speed limit. And so, I mean, there's so many little things this could be that it doesn't have to be this big, you know, he was out of control, madman kind of a scenario.
Exactly. He doesn't seem like the type anyway. You know, he seems pretty mellow for the most part. So I don't know. JC is saying reckless driving is so wide defined and wide examples, even just touching the lines. I've seen people get tickets for that. I mean, but that's only if the officer's a real jerk. You know, I mean, sometimes, I mean, I'll be honest, I have a buddy of mine who's LAPD, and he's even told me that you could get a ticket for even driving with sandals on instead of closed for having open-toed shoes, or driving barefoot. You could get a ticket for that as well. So there's many ways that a person could actually receive a ticket, or even, like you said, JC, could actually be charged with reckless driving. There could be just little teeny tiny things. So who knows? Maybe the DA is just looking to like get famous and just put that out there. That's another possibility.
Well, it's not the DA that's putting, you know, all this. This is public information. The media is going to be on it, requesting, you know, anything they can get and releasing all this crap constantly. So if they get if the DA's office gets a request from one of these news outlets, you know, for an update, he has to tell them what's going on. He has to tell them if he's being charged. He has to tell them all of that stuff, unless the case is being closed to the media, which does happen with some of the bigger cases. This isn't that big of a case. So I don't know if he's trying to really make a name. It's the media that's dragging this out and trying to make it a big story.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And you gotta admit that TMZ is they'll go ahead and grasp it as for anything, especially right now because of the writer's strike. There's not much out there. Which, by the way, we stand with the WGA. I stand with the WGA because as a writer myself, I mean, they got to get their fair share, you know, and because of the writer's strike, there's a lot of, I mean, I just heard today that Daredevil and the new Penguin series have been put on the back burner until the writer's strike is over. That's what I just heard today.
It's got to be dealt with. And, you know, it almost all revolves around the new media licensing for streaming deals and all that kind of stuff. The actors in their last negotiations addressed some of those. It was not addressed as far as it needed to be, in my opinion, but it got addressed where, you know, there's going to be more pay for, you know, mid-level actors and stuff for the streaming packages and stuff like that, because streaming changed the way this all happens. I mean, it did. It killed movie sales. Yeah. It's really changed the ball game. So, you know, these artists are trying to get paid for their work, you know, and fairly. So it's just a new market, new media, and they've got to find their way. You know, they've got to find what is fair. They've got to get an honest answer from the production companies as to what's coming in, which is very hard to do. Production companies don't like to share numbers. Very
true. For good reason too, because they're like, oh, if they see the numbers, they're going to want more money.
Well, I mean, that's production companies have always done that. That's why, you know, getting points on the back end. Actors have always been taken care of very well when it comes to getting points on the back end. Yeah. But writers as well as other people in the industry who get points, are almost always screwed out of that money. Somehow the production company, oh, it costs us more here and more here, and we only made this much profit, when in fact they made millions and millions and millions.
And
so production houses are always trying to do that kind of thing.
well, to the point we're actually like we're gonna move on to sports here soon, but now that I bring up this point, actually there was talk that SAG, and Jeremy, you're a part of SAG still, there was talk that SAG was actually going to be going on strike too. I mean, seeing that you're a part of SAG, have you heard anything about this?
The last I had heard was we were set to be joining joining the strike in solidarity sometime in the next week or two, and that was about 2 weeks ago. So I don't know. I haven't heard any updates. We haven't been contacted by our representatives to say yes, we're moving forwards. So I really don't know at this point.
This is a mess. I mean, I just look at it as there needs to be some sort of fair resolve here. There's only so many people that can binge watch after a while and then just say, okay, we need something new here, because they're driving ourselves crazy. And the people that bring us the good stories are writers. Without writers, you got nothing.
Hey, look at Lucas, man. When Lucas leaves the film alone and lets someone else write it, great Star Wars film. When Lucas writes it himself, what happens, folks? You need great writers. You need them. If you want great entertainment, you need great writers, and those people need to be taken care of. So this will get worked out, hopefully sooner than later. But the industry cannot run without quality writers. It can't. And the people in charge know that. So
far right now, what they're doing is they're not only are they because I mean, Hollywood's not stupid. They have their vault full of movies and stuff like that still haven't even been released yet, that have already been filmed and they've already been done. So they're like, they have their little stash ready to go. They do,
but to counter that just a little bit, they do. But most of those films were not good enough to get an immediate release. They were shelved for a reason. They were shelved because we weren't so crazy about it. It's not the right time for this or whatever. So they're going to their B squad. Okay, this is not the top quality stuff, and their profits will reflect that. So again, there's only so much the industry can do without paying the writers properly. At some point, they're going to have to pony up.
Agreed. Well, we'll go ahead and see what happens with that. Hopefully they'll come to a resolution soon, because again, there's a lot of TV shows, a lot of stuff that people are looking forward to that won't be able to watch it until this strike is firmly over and resolved finally. In sports, Conor McGregor, as many of you heard earlier this week, he has been accused of rape. Now, video has surfaced actually recently, and this is on TMZ, of the victim that Conor McGregor allegedly forced into the bathroom. Those reports that he had forced this person in the bathroom. In the video, it shows that he didn't force anybody. He was actually leading the alleged victim into the bathroom. And so far, as of 5:02 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, there has been an update on TMZ saying, quote, Conor McGregor's attorney, Barbara R. Lanes, Gelber, Schatzer, and Greenberg, PA, tells TMZ Sports, quote, after the video was released by TMZ, the claimant's lawyer now has changed her story. Mr. McGregor welcomes the investigation, which he firmly believes will show the claims against him are false. After not responding to the demand for money made by claimant's counsel, she turned to the media to apply pressure. This is no more than a shakedown. So at this point, it seems that's what it's looking like. And if many people turn to the video that was on TMZ, you could clearly see that the alleged victim is voluntarily following Conor into the bathroom, and as he closes the door behind him. So that could be something that many people are going to be like, okay, it doesn't seem like anyone was forced into anything. Now, what happened behind those doors of the bathroom is a different story. Obviously, we don't know what happens behind it because the door's closed. So we really have no idea what really happened there. So I guess we have to just wait and find out, right? Yeah,
it's going to be a wait and see situation. Again, I haven't seen the video, but everything I've read about it, it seems to point to what you said, and that it does not appear like anyone was forced or coerced or, physically pushed or anything else into the bathroom. Again, there is definitely the question of, why were you leading this woman into the bathroom? But beyond that, we don't know anything. So again, anytime someone in this position starts changing their story, you start to question their truthfulness. But we're going to have to see how it plays out.
No, I 100% agree. And I'm reading the comments, or the comments were freaking hilarious. But one in particular that was in the comments is like, what does she think she was going into the bathroom for? A Bible study? Like, I saw that and I was like, that's just wrong.
It's wrong, but it speaks to a point. I mean, I'm sorry, but people do have a little bit. Now, if he did something absolutely horrible behind those doors, forced her, anything like that, that's different. Nothing excuses that. But ladies, men, anyone, someone's leading you into the bathroom, you guys have all had drinks or whatever, they're either offering you blow or they're expecting something.
That's actually what I think too.
There's only two things there. Oh, yeah. Hey, Michael, good to see you.
Yeah, I just
long distance watcher from Malta.
Yay. Yeah, no, it's the funniest thing. I mean, because again, like you said, if you're going to the bathroom, there's only two reasons why two people go in the bathroom. And it's either for, like you said, blow, which that's actually what I was thinking too. That was actually initially what I was assuming that's what they were doing. Or the other thing. But again,
it's completely alleged. I don't want to get in any trouble here, but
exactly.
There have been rumors for years about Connor's perhaps enjoyment of certain party favors. That has been a widely discussed rumor, and it has never been proven. There's no footage of him doing anything, but that has actually been quite a well-known storyline with him. Whether it's true or not, we don't know. But again, if someone's trying to get you to go in a bathroom at a club with them, I mean, use some common sense here. If it's not what you wanted to be doing, then you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, no, and the other part to that is the fact of the matter that, excuse me, that it's just, I think that, and this is just my theory here, is that the victim is piggybacking off of Connor's very, I would have to say, checkered past of being violent. Obviously, we know that Connor's gotten into fights, bar fights. He's hit people that were elderly.
He's an easy mark for this kind of thing. He is, because he does have a reputation that is less than stellar.
Exactly. He's not exactly a mellow person. He's very violent, especially when he has drinks in him, allegedly, these things. I mean, even earlier that night or earlier this week, I don't know if it was that same night or a couple days before that night, he had punched out the mascot, but granted, it was a gimmick. But the
guy ended up having to go to the hospital. Yeah, the mascot actually went to the hospital afterwards
because he got knocked out. He got really knocked out. It was supposed to be a gimmick for his new, I guess, line of spray or something like that. And he even sprayed the mascot. They thought he was still playing, that he was down. No, the mascot was actually knocked out. He went to the hospital for it. So it's chances are that, with that happening, and then coincidentally this happening, it just seems to me that it's a little bit it's just too perfect, that whole thing, that chain of events. So
it'll play out. In this kind of situation, we still won't really know what happened, but it'll either go away because she's completely full of it, or if there's any grain of truth to it, he'll pay her off and it'll go away. But then if he lays out money for something he said absolutely didn't happen, especially someone like Connor, I'd be questioning his honesty then. Because if he really, did nothing, I would expect a man like him to fight this tooth and nail.
And he usually does. He usually does. At the end, he usually does. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that whole situation. In other sports news, Mexico versus USA soccer game is stopped early by the refs. Now, yesterday, I actually watched this game myself. Yesterday, it was an incredible game, very high-spirited, very competitive game. USA beat Mexico 3-0.
Dominated.
Dominated. This entire game. I mean, this game was incredible, but there was a lot of things that happened. There was red cards being thrown in like candy. It was
there's 2 on each side. There were 4 ejections, 2 players that I think they were finishing the game with 9 players each on the team.
It was bad.
Both teams were playing shorthanded.
But it's gonna affect the USA more so than anything because they have to play on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So I mean, this is gonna affect them like a lot. But the whole thing that happened, because I was watching it from start to finish because it was a great game. The referees initially had stopped it, and this is like at around 80 minutes. The game was practically already over. It was around 83 minutes. The game was practically already over, and the referees had stopped the game every time the goalie would kick the ball, pretty much service the ball to begin to resume the game. The fans would scream in Spanish, a derogatory term in Spanish that would basically translate to a male prostitute. And they would call him this every single time. So the referee finally got fed up, stopped the game. He stopped the game completely. As soon as the ball hit the ground, he said, "Stop the game." So they stopped the game, something that has never, ever happened in the history of soccer. That a ref would stop the game over chants from the crowd, not even because of the players. This had to do with the chants of the crowd. And he stopped the game the first time and added 12 minutes, 12 extra minutes, because the soccer games end at 90 minutes. So he added 12 minutes. So the game is supposed to go into 90
time.
Exactly. So he added 12 minutes. The game resumed. So again, second time, same thing. Goalie went ahead, serviced the ball, and again, the crowd chanted the derogatory term, causing the referee to completely end the game. Mind you, Mexico was already down 3-0. Highly, highly unlikely, especially the way the USA was playing and the way Mexico was playing, highly unlikely that Mexico would have came back at all. But regardless, the referee ended the game early before even the 12 minutes were even fulfilled because of, again, the chants of the crowd. Now, this is something even the commentators were saying this is something that was very disappointing to watch, something that was very disappointing to see, and hear the crowd say the things that they were saying. It was like, come on, like a little bit more maturity. Granted, this is a very highly spirited rivalry between these two countries, and the humiliation was huge because obviously Mexico was going in there being the favorite. USA, even my dad was like, you know what, this isn't the same USA that was playing when they first started in soccer. This is a more advanced USA. They've played through many World Cups. They have learned from their mistakes. They have now played. They've practiced to the point where they are now a force to be reckoned with in the soccer community. Mexico still has no respect for USA, so therefore they thought it'll be easy for us to take it. And the fans also thought the same. Not so much, especially after this. So it's obviously that the fans were pissed that they were humiliated 3-0 by USA. Now, Jeremy, I talked with you earlier on about the situation. You said that there was more to it than this.
Well, there is, in just that this is actually something that the IOC has put into effect. This was not just a random decision by This is not just a random decision by a referee. There is actually new rules the IOC has put in against discriminatory, speech and language and things like that. They're attempting to boost their visibility. They're attempting to boost their television and broadcast deals, and they can't have a nationally televised or world televised event with a bunch of the crowd yelling audibly, a derogatory slur. So this is actually something we're going to possibly be seeing more often. The IOC is investigating more ways to not punish fans, but limit fans who do this kind of thing over and over from being able to come to the game. It's already done in college football. There are some really derogatory chants that college teams have for their rivals. But because of the era of television and great microphones and everything else, those chants are now completely audible. So students who get identified doing that stuff can get banned from games. Entire student sections have been banned from games. So there are ways the IOC can go about this, but this is actually a directive from the top, basically, to limit this type of stuff in any way they can.
It's difficult though, because you have thousands upon thousands of people chanting the same thing. And if you ban that many people, ticket sales may drop a little bit, because it's like, in a sense, you're also looking at it as, and granted, I've always promised not to get political on here because we don't like talking politics, but it is, in a sense, I would say, freedom of speech for many people to express what they are thinking, what they are wanting to say. And obviously we have a lot of fans that even during games, they can go ahead and, talk crap to their players, talk trash, because that's just what we've always done. Like for many years, every fan has always talked crap to athletes, because that's just the way we are. We're so competitive. We're so impassioned by what's going on. You and I, we, our rival schools, Notre Dame and UCLA versus USC, we're always talking crap to one another about these teams always going at it, So, it's really difficult for that organization to monitor or to police this, because, this is something that people have done for years.
It is, but there are ways it can be done. Like I said, we're in a new era here. Microphones pick up everything. We've got, how many times do you see coaches getting picked up saying something they probably shouldn't have on the sidelines now? It happens all the time now. They are trying to do something about it. It has been done in the NFL, which, you're talking 50, 60 to 80,000 people, college football games, 80 to 100,000 people. They have implemented things to curb this. It takes a while. It's not going to happen overnight, but they have been able to implement things to curb this kind of behavior. So I'm sure the IOC is going to be, looking at, I'm sure the IOC is going to be looking at that.
I agree. And at the end of the day, it's, it's not going to really do much. Let's go ahead and call it the way it is. It's not going to do much. You're looking at the fact of the matter that there's no way to police thousands of people in the stands from stopping them from saying what they want to say.
I disagree with you in that, yes, it occurs occasionally, but it has been curbed. It has been curbed in the NFL, in college football. They have put things in place. Are you telling me those people are any different than a soccer game fandom? It's still people. If they were able to put things in place that made it work for those other sports, then they should be able to put it in place to make it work for soccer.
What I'm saying is that it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
And it certainly won't happen, quickly. But over time, because they've never implemented anything like this. So over time, as they start implementing more things to deter people, I think you'll see it change.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. They kind of did the same thing in wrestling and professional wrestling. You would have fans, but this is different though, because you would have fans with signs that say derogatory terms on it. So they would immediately, the camera would pan and say, "Hey, right there, kick them out. They would grab them and kick them out. You'd see security suddenly just like escort them right out of the building. So, I mean, but that's different. Those are signs. So I don't know. I guess we'll just go ahead and see what happens with this. But very, very sad to see that the game had to be stopped over this. I mean, it was a good game. Granted, Mexico probably wasn't going to make a comeback 3-0. It wasn't easy, but it is what it is. That's the news. In case you haven't heard it, thank you so much for joining us here on the Navarro-Miller Report. As always, we will be here next week, hopefully. I'm here with this guy all the time. I'm your host, Dave Navarro, as always, along with this pain forever.
And I'm Jeremy Miller, the pain.
The pain. But as always, we wish everybody a wonderful weekend. Again, happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there, and to all of the mothers as well that play both parts, mother and father, to their kids. Happy Father's Day to all of you. To you, Jeremy, happy Father's Day as well. I hope you spend it well with your family, my friend.
Thank you, my brother.
And we will definitely go ahead and see everybody next time. Take care, everyone.
You have been listening to the Navarro-Miller Report.